Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole stack of information, sift through it, and pull out the really important nuggets of knowledge just for you.
That's the goal.
Today, we're diving headfirst into the fascinating and, let's be honest, sometimes pretty bewildering world of artificial intelligence.
It's moving so fast.
It really is. We've got a compelling set of sources today from The Guardian, MIT Sloan, and the Harvard Kennedy School. Together, they paint a really vivid picture of where AI is right now, its incredible potential, and also some really significant societal implications.
Exactly. Our mission today is, well, to help you navigate this landscape. It's evolving so quickly. We'll look at the grand visions from AI leaders, then get into the cutting-edge tech.
Yeah, the stuff pushing the boundaries.
Right. And then, crucially, we'll shift focus to the human side, how we actually interact with AI, and the big policy discussions happening right now that are shaping its future.
Okay.
It's definitely lots to unpack, but we'll focus on what truly matters.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll walk away feeling much better informed.
All right, let's get into it. Imagine, just for a second, a technological revolution that's 10 times bigger and maybe 10 times faster than the Industrial Revolution.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the scale of change. One of the world's top AI minds thinks we're on the brink of. And that's where we're going to start.
Sounds like a good place to begin.
So we're kicking things off with Demis Hassabis. He's the head of Google DeepMind. You could argue he's one of the most important people in the AI world right now.
Easily.
And he's such a fascinating character. I mean, this is someone who was a chess prodigy at 4, coded the hit game Theme Park when he was just 17, and then later he co-founded DeepMind with this pretty audacious mission, right? Solve intelligence and then use it to solve everything else.
Talk about ambition. It's huge. And what's really interesting about Hassabis is this kind of dual role he plays. He's obviously a massive booster for AI.
Sure.
But at the same time, he seems almost, well, apologetic sometimes. Or at least very cautious. Remember, DeepMind's AlphaFold database, the one that predicted protein structures.
Yeah, the Nobel Prize winner.
Exactly. A huge breakthrough for medicine.
Yeah.
But even with that success, Hassabis openly says he wishes they'd kept AI in the lab a bit longer. Maybe cured cancer first, before it got released so widely to the public.
That's quite a statement from someone right at the heart of it.
It really gives you pause. It shows this deep awareness of the power they've unleashed.
He definitely embodies this cautious optimism, doesn't he? He talks about a future of radical abundance if AI is managed safely, breakthroughs in medicine, new materials, maybe even traveling to the stars.
The potential sounds incredible.
But he's also really upfront about the massive unknowns that come along with that kind of power.
Which leads to some big questions. He admits pretty freely that mass unemployment is going to be one of the biggest things society has to figure out.
Right. That's the flip side.
He sort of suggested if we do get this radical abundance, and if we distribute it well, big ifs, of course, then maybe people will naturally gravitate towards things like sports or meditation, the arts, basically, because they'll have the time and the resources.
Interesting theory.
And for his own kids, he sees them becoming ninjas using these new tools, like highly empowered individuals.
He sounds pretty competitive, too. Apparently, he doesn't let his kids win at board games.
Huh. Good to know.
But getting back to that quote, the idea that this change will be 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution and maybe 10 times faster, that really hammers home the scale we're talking about, doesn't it?
It does. It's almost hard to wrap your head around. And zooming out a bit, this vision from Hassabis and DeepMind, it really connects to the bigger picture, the huge shifts happening across the whole AI landscape.
Yeah.
DeepMind, like you said, already had these incredible achievements that kind of paved the way.
Yeah.
Their AI mastering Atari games, beating a Go grandmaster.
That was a huge moment.
It was. And then AlphaFold, solving over 200 million protein structures. These were defining milestones in AI research.
But here's where it gets really interesting, right? Despite all that progress, DeepMind and Google more broadly, they were kind of caught off guard in 2022.
By ChatGPT.
Exactly. OpenAI's ChatGPT just exploded onto the scene. Hassabis actually admits, he says, we all had systems that are very similar, but they were maybe too close to their own tech.
Too focused inward?
Yeah, perhaps. Too close to see the amazing everyday uses that would just capture the public's imagination like ChatGPT did. It must have been a real wake-up call for them.
It definitely seems like it prompted a shift at Google. They basically positioned DeepMind as the engine room for the whole company, really focusing them on that core AI research.
Right.
And their latest big step towards AGI, that's artificial general intelligence, AI that can do most intellectual tasks like a human, is this thing called the Genie 3 world model.
Okay, what's a world model?
So it allows AI systems to interact with these really convincing simulations of the real world. Think about training robots in a virtual warehouse before they ever touch a real box, or simulating complex things like skiing to teach an AI physics and control.
Ah, okay. So it learns by doing, but in a safe, simulated space.
Precisely. It's seen as a really key step towards building autonomous AI agents that can, and this is a quote, carry out most tasks on a par with humans.
That's quite the goal. So while Google's building these complex simulations, what about the competition? OpenAI, the ChatGPT folks, they're not standing still, I assume.
Not at all. They're making some very strategic moves, too. They've just launched 2 open-weight large language models.
Open weight, what does that mean exactly? Is it the same as open source?
Good question. It's slightly different. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, says it's for wide benefit and based on democratic values. But the source points out that OpenWeight isn't quite open source. Well, with OpenWeight, developers can get the model's weights, and it's learned knowledge, the parameters, and they can download and customize them. It's free to do so. This makes it competitive with Meta and China's DeepSeek, who also have similar models.
Okay.
But crucially, they don't get the underlying code that created the model or the data it was trained on. So it's a step down in transparency compared to true open source.
I see. And are there concerns about this?
Yes, some alarm bells are ringing among certain experts. The ability for anyone to freely customize these powerful models has led to warnings. Could they be adapted for harm, like developing bioweapons?
Wow, that's serious.
It is. Now, the companies themselves, they test for these risks. They found that maliciously fine-tuned versions in their tests were unable to reach high capability levels for those kinds of extreme threats. But the concern, the potential for misuse, it definitely persists.
So a complex balance between openness and safety?
Absolutely. It's a major debate in the field right now.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Moving away from the big tech companies and their strategies, let's talk about us, the users. How do we get the best out of this technology? There's a fascinating study from MIT Sloan on this.
Yes, this one really caught my eye. It challenges a common assumption.
Which is?
Well, you'd probably assume, like I would have, that if you switch to a better, more advanced AI model, you automatically get much better results, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Better engine, better performance.
That's what you'd think. But what's really fascinating here is the study found only about half of the performance improvement they saw after switching models came from the AI itself.
Only half. Where did the other half come from?
Believe it or not, it came from how the users adapted their prompts. The instructions they gave the AI.
No way. So it's not just about the AI getting smarter, it's about us getting smarter about how we talk to it.
Exactly. It's a partnership. And get this, the study found that effective prompting is actually more about clear communication than it is about technical coding skills. Yeah. People without technical backgrounds could improve quite quickly. Yeah. It really boils down to expressing your ideas clearly, just using everyday language.
That's actually quite empowering, isn't it?
It is. But it also raises a really important point for businesses. Just investing piles of money in the latest AI tools won't automatically deliver the value you expect.
Unless your employees learn how to use them effectively.
Precisely. Unless they refine how they prompt and interact with the AI. And here's the real kicker, something that sounds totally counterintuitive.
Go on.
The study looked at automatic prompt rewriting, features designed to help users by improving their prompts automatically.
Yeah, I've seen those. They seem helpful.
Well, in some cases, this feature actually degraded performance by 58%.
58% worse? How?
Because the automated system, in trying to improve the prompt, actually changed the user's original intent. It misunderstood what the user was asking for and sent the AI off in the wrong direction.
Oh, wow. That's a huge aha moment right there.
Isn't it? It just shows how easily these systems can break down if the designers make assumptions about how people will actually use them, or if they try to automate something that requires human nuance.
So the takeaways for businesses seem pretty clear then.
Absolutely. Invest in training and let people experiment. Design systems for iteration, allowing users to refine things, and be really, really cautious with automation that might obscure what the user's actually trying to achieve.
Because it could completely backfire.
It really could. Human intent is key.
Okay, that's super practical. Now let's broaden the lens again. Let's talk about the bigger societal picture, the governance aspect. How are governments trying to steer this incredibly powerful technology?
Right. This brings us to our source from the Harvard Kennedy School. which offers a deeply critical look at America's new AI action plan and the related executive orders.
Critical in what way?
The source basically argues that this plan takes enormous risks with human flourishing. It sees it as prioritizing development speed and national dominance over potential harms and ethical considerations.
Okay, strong words. How does the source break down the plan?
It outlines three main pillars. The first one is essentially about removing regulation that the administration sees as slowing down AI development.
How are they doing that?
Well, the plan apparently suggests barring states with what it deems burdensome AI regulations from getting federal funding, and maybe even more significantly, it instructs NIST, that's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, to remove references to things like misinformation, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and even climate change from its AI risk management framework.
Removing DEI and climate change from a risk framework. How does the source interpret that?
This is where the critique gets really pointed. The source argues that this move effectively redefines ideologically neutral AI. Instead of meaning unbiased, it argues, it now means AI reflecting the current administration's specific worldview. It explicitly calls out the executive order language targeting woke AI as, and I'm quoting the source here, gaslighting. The argument is that the order accuses others of distorting history or attacking rights, while in the source's view, the administration itself is doing that by dismissing DEI efforts as just ideological dogma.
So the source is saying the policy itself is embedding a particular ideology while claiming neutrality.
That's the core of the critique, yes. It highlights that the EO's definition of problematic DEI includes things like suppression or distortion of factual information about race or sex, and incorporating concepts like critical race theory.
And what are the potential consequences of that, according to the source?
The concern raised is that this could lead to public sector AI tools actually encoding past discrimination, effectively labeling it as neutral because DEI considerations were removed. Or, for example, climate-informed AI models could become less accurate if climate change data or considerations are stripped out.
So a real worry about embedding bias or degrading performance by removing context.
Exactly. That's the fear expressed in the analysis.
Wow. Okay, what's the second pillar?
The second pillar is about building up AI infrastructure, investing in the power grid, data centers, all the physical stuff AI needs.
Makes sense. AI needs a lot of power.
It does. But the source notes that this push coincides with phasing out tax credits for renewable energy while making it cheaper to drill for fossil fuels.
So the implication is?
The source suggests that the American AI empire, as it's envisioned, is one largely powered by fossil fuels, which, raises a whole other set of environmental and long-term sustainability questions.
Right. And the third pillar?
The third pillar is focused squarely on global dominance. The strategy aims to get other countries to buy into America's full AI technology stack.
Buying the whole package.
Yeah, and the source characterizes this as viewing other nations primarily as customers, not partners. It even uses pretty strong language, comparing the approach to colonial-era trade deals, calling it imperial condescension.
That's a very sharp critique.
It is. And interestingly, part of this strategy involves pushing American companies to make their models open source, or at least open weight, as we discussed earlier. The apparent goal here is to set a global standard that favors U.S. tech.
So openness as a tool for market dominance in this view.
That seems to be the interpretation presented by the source.
What really stands out to me from this analysis is how it traces the recent history of tech ethics.
How so?
It paints this picture of moving from sort of initial apathy, Zuckerberg's infamous move fast and break things mantra.
Right, the early Silicon Valley ethos.
Then shifting into a period of intense advocacy around the mid-2010s. That's when we saw lots of books, declarations about AI ethics, major things like the EU AI Act taking shape.
A real focus on potential harms and rights.
Exactly. But now, according to this Harvard source, with this specific U.S. action plan, we're seeing a shift towards what it calls abdication. A stepping back from prioritizing human rights in AI policy in favor of speed and competition.
That's a stark assessment.
It really is. It serves as a pretty powerful warning about the direction things might be heading and the long-term consequences of the policy choices being made right now.
Definitely food for thought.
So there you have it. We've covered a lot of ground today. From, the almost dizzying promise of radical abundance and potentially human-level AGI within years.
Which sounds like science fiction, but maybe isn't.
Right. to the very real strategic chess game being played by the tech giants, the surprising power that we hold through our prompts.
That was a key insight from the MIT study.
And finally, these urgent, really complex policy debates that are actively shaping AI's global impact.
Yeah, this deep dive really underscores that AI isn't just some neat new technology. It's a truly profound societal shift. It's going to touch, well, pretty much every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely.
It's set to challenge our economies, our ethical frameworks, and maybe even our fundamental understanding of what it means to be human in the first place.
The questions it throws up are just immense, aren't they? I mean, will we actually achieve that radical abundance? And maybe more importantly, can we figure out how to distribute it fairly?
That's the trillion-dollar question.
And how will we adapt? Not just using AI as a tool, but really working alongside it, integrating it into our daily work and lives as it becomes more and more capable.
It requires rethinking skills, jobs, education, everything.
And maybe the biggest question for all of us as citizens, how do we make sure that the way AI is developed, the way it's governed, actually serves human flourishing, that it benefits everyone, not just, narrow corporate interests or national ambitions?
That's the crucial challenge. The choice is being made right now in labs, in corporate boardrooms, in government offices all around the world. These decisions will fundamentally shape the nature of this grave new world that's emerging.
Yeah.
It seems pretty clear that just understanding these developments, keeping up with them, it's not really optional anymore, is it? It's essential for everyone.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.
Thank you.
And until next time, keep digging for those nuggets of knowledge.